All right, what's up, everyone? This is Jesse Goku here, and this is another Geeks 5 Ever podcast. My co-host today is Xeric 2007.
What's going on, guys?
That's right. And today we got some special guests. Returning with us is Sakekitty.
Hello.
We got Ladygoth.
Hey.
Don't wave at the microphone. They can't see anything.
I ain't waving at the microphone. I'm waving
And,
at the weird guy in front of me.
We got Mr. Oliver Mathieu from Delta H-Con returning to promote the con. Delta H-Con, August
19th through 21st.
That's right.
Woo.
If you don't go, we will find you.
Just imagining that memes it's like I don't know who you are, but I will find you on Facebook.
Through the interwebs, and I will trash talk and say, fight me in IRL.
Be there or be square.
Like
That's
there is a meme of this guy who has a square shaped head, and it's like someone told him to be there or be square, and he never showed up, and that's why it looks like SpongeBob.
So I like the new Ghostbusters movie.
No, this isn't that podcast. We're saving that podcast for later. This is today. This is part 1 of 2 of a podcast that we're doing with our guests. We're gonna do a recap on Comic Palooza, which just happened June 17th through the 19th. It's actually really fun. We were there. We got to host 11 different panels. I think we were the one group throughout the entire convention with the most panels. Don't take my word for that. I think because I don't think anyone else had double-digit panels.
And that's my knowledge.
No, and even the guests don't really get but more than like maybe 2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah, and like I looked at some of the panels for for the cosplay stuff, and it's like, you know, there was a few, but Delta's H's app was all wonky with my phone.
Delta or Comic?
Not Delta, Comic Palooza.
That's because Comic Palooza Saturday they did a lot of changes to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they forced the app on everyone Saturday because the schedule was off by half an hour. Everything had moved up, so instead of it starting at 11, it started at 11:30. We thought we were running late to our own panel, and we got there. It turns out that it was delayed by half an hour. So thank you.
That makes sense because when I was going for the cosplay contest, which was so much fun, I could talk about that part. But what happened is that when it came for the judging for looking at the craftsmanship of some of the cosplayers and their outfits and everything, they were 30 minutes late, which was half an hour. So they had to rush everything when it came to that, but I think they got extra time because a lot of issues came about with that whole thing.
But I wonder what caused the time skip. It's could it be like maybe some of the guests it didn't meet their schedules, or just programming, something happened with the computer?
I really don't know, but in most
of course you don't know, you don't work for them.
No, but in most conventions, they do, it's pretty common that they change times. Like the fact that Comic Palooza did it, because they're pretty, they're a professional convention, so the fact that happened, I didn't know that did happen, but that makes sense.
Whenever it's something like an entire schedule being set off, is usually more things like the actual venue telling you, you need to start things half an hour later, we're going to be doing something. That's usually what pushes the entire thing.
Yeah, it was everything.
One panel being off, okay, that's different.
And that sometimes is normal as well.
When it's, what was it, 10 panel rooms?
No, it was the entire, everything, even the photo shoots. The photo shoots, the autograph sessions, everything.
They must have told them to open the dealer's room later or something.
Probably.
So, you can feel free to eat the chips while during the podcast. This podcast is brought to you by generic brand chips. Tortilla
and
chips.
Generic brand salsa.
Some salsa we found in the dumpster.
I think we're all...
I don't know, there's something in the fridge. I hope it's still good.
Yeah.
It's pretty spicy.
Half the stuff in that fridge is older than I am. And I remember the war. Anyways, so Comic Palooza happened. We were there. We only signed up for about 5 panels. We got 11 thrown at us. When I saw that we had 11 panels, I was like, whoa, no, what? No, that's not what I asked for. I want to enjoy the con. But because we hosted all 11 panels, and it was so amazing to work so many panels, and we were so busy, we actually had fun. That's why this year for Delta H-Con, if you're listening, Sarah, if you we're trying to host 20 panels at Delta H-Con.
I thought you said you were trying to host 20 pounds.
20 pounds. Yeah, we're gonna pick up Eric and then.
I didn't know Eric was 20 pounds. Gosh damn, man. Eat a cheeseburger or something. God.
Hey, I gotta keep the
Your womanly
He's like
figure.
he's like Adam West. He's 90% helium.
Basically, yeah, that's true. That's an accurate amount.
But we always knew you were full of hot air.
I love Comic Palooza, especially with what they did with the guy from Sons of Anarchy.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God. He made it. He actually when the whole Space City Con like went really bad. He actually, I think he was the one that made a statement apologizing to his fans about the situation, and then the fact that that Compalooza were like, we're gonna uphold. You know, if you have proof that you paid for signatures and photo ops from Space City, we will fulfill it over here at
They only did it for the people with the VIP passes, because my friend bought every artist signature, and he got everybody to sign his jacket. I made him a cup.
I saw.
Yeah, they only did it for the
And
VIP.
He only missed Charlie, and he was like third person in line when they said, "Oh no, he's going home now."
Well, the thing was, because the VIP people paid like $2,500.
It was something ridiculous.
It was in like a couple of hours.
It was in the
insane.
thousands, and so they gave him like, okay, you get everything you were promised at Space City Comic Con. You get a free badge to Comic Palooza. You know, so everything that you were supposed to receive at Space City Comic Con, you'll receive it here at Comic Palooza, and we'll honor, like, you know, and you gotta hand it to the con chair.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
It wasn't just the con chair. It was also the group that owns his co-partners.
Well, right. But in every group, you know, there's always a leader. That he's not just like a manager. He's not a boss. He's an actual leader. He's actually taking this con and giving Houston the name that it's supposed to have in the state of Texas. Because state of Texas, when you think of anime cons or comic cons, you should think Houston. But no, when it comes to anime cons, people think Dallas.
Yeah,
and
Hell's 10 Days. Come on, in a little tiny box.
Right. So Houston, being one of the largest cities in the United States, should be the centerfold for like all of these comic cons and anime cons in this state.
Yeah, and the one thing that I don't like, I don't understand, and I don't know much about doing conventions at all. You know, I did a few panels, but thing for that's the washer, I think.
Oh, okay. Sorry about the background noise.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're having a weird
No,
feedback.
he's messing with the table saw.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Sorry. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
hold on. Go ahead.
making
Keep
props
talking.
outside.
Keep talking.
Okay. So, dang it, what was I talking about? I went mind blanking.
ADD.
No. Well, the whole problem with, what I don't understand is that there's some really awesome cons like in San Antonio, in Dallas, in Austin, and that most of these conventions are like held like at hotels and stuff like that. And I'm like, why don't they come down to like,
Houston had the original Houston Con, and this is started in the 70s to the 80s. And the last one was run at the Summit, which turned into the Compact Center, which turned into the Lakewood Church. But they invited the whole crew of the Starship Enterprise, and didn't pay anybody, and didn't pay the venue, and the guy booked it from town. So that was the last convention that was anywhere in Houston until we had the Kamikaze Con.
Yeah, and I like that.
And that was a 25 year break in conventions. And then we started having the anime scene. The anime scene got really big, and then something killed it. We're just going to be polite and say something killed it, and the anime scene just absolutely just imploded.
Yeah, and
Wait,
that's
when Comic Palooza
what
showed up.
imploded?
The anime scene.
Yeah.
No.
Anime scene.
After you said what killed it, what imploded after that? The comic book scene?
Yeah, all the anime scene, it just dropped out.
Well, okay. The thing was, because a lot of anime cons, and I don't know if we should be acknowledging this, but a lot of these anime cons had problems with the attendees. There was the problem with Onicon at the George R. Brown when people were vandalizing their hotel rooms.
oh, fortunate.
Using a couch as a porta potty.
They were smearing it all over the walls of the hallway.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I think a lot of cons should have a lot of security at that point. But I don't, like I said, I don't know much about
No,
it.
well, before
What
if you sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but if you look, because we were looking at the hotel room this year, and one thing we did notice that it wasn't there a couple of years ago is now they have cameras in the hallways. They didn't have cameras in the hallways prior, but now they do. So they're learning, because the hotel is much. It left a bad taste in their mouth, but they see this. Oh my, okay, so this is way too big not to make money off of it. So let's take precautions. And anime kind of became mainstream. Anime cons became mainstream like around 2010. But at the same time, so like we were evolving as a fandom. Now it wasn't just anime anymore.
Yeah, it became a little bit of everything. And that's when you started having more mixed conventions, like Delta H-Con were anime and gaming.
Yeah. And
Matsuri turned to the Lolita convention and car show.
Well, now it's just anime and car shows.
Yeah, the Lolita community left Matsuri.
As an attendance.
Remember, you are innocent until proven guilty.
Yep. But the whole there's a besides that point. But the thing is that for me now I have a better understanding that Houston left a bad taste on a lot of people's mouths about how they deal with conventions, and even I think that's probably
Schedule
one of the
them in the summer.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm just like, a lot of these conventions, they probably might get more people if they go to the Georgia Brown Convention Center, because it has hotels, places to eat and gather. It's not a good place to probably take a lot of pictures, because I like to go to San Japan because they have the river walk. But for like comic, for not Comic Palooza, but for Georgia Brown Convention Center, it's more like an urban type of scene, so it's hard to take pictures.
Houston Convention Bureau is starting to put a lot of effort into that. That's why they became partners with Comic Palooza. But they're also adding more restaurants into the Georgia Brown. They're not going to be, the little R-mark.
Yeah, I noticed because there was a group of people, investors, at the Georgia Brown. We went to go pick up our badges Friday morning.
I'm surprised
they weren't part of the con.
Was there any food trucks?
No food trucks were available.
Yeah, I was
because there's no road right now.
There's no road.
Yeah,
right. They're going to be rebuilding the road, Avenida Americas.
Well, they're getting rid of that street in front of the Georgia Brown. That's going to be gone. That's just going to be that's going to be one big plaza now. So that's actually going to be
there's still going to be a road there.
No, they were getting rid of. If you look outside, they're putting the sidewalk tiles where the road used to be.
No, it's going to make it a really pretty road. Yeah, they're spending way too much money on that. But what they're doing is creating a main entry for the Georgia Brown, which, come on, it was, is this the back door? No, this is the front door. Okay, yeah. Now we're gonna have a real front door in the Georgia Brown. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna feed right into the Discovery Green. And then what's really important is the Marriott that's gonna be taking away the monopoly Las Americas had.
Yep.
Because Hilton Las Americas does not want to play with conventions.
Why not? Like
they're too
below them.
Yeah.
Below them?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, whatever. It's their business practice. I'm not. If that's what they want, then that's fine.
Look, before we continue, the opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of the other admins or sponsors for Geeks 5 Ever. Now, I'm a loyal Hilton's Honor member, and I do like their hotel, but at the same time, they could do when it comes to the cosplayers, because a lot of hotels, not just, and it seems to be not just Hilton, but a lot of chains. I like to book my hotel outside of the con block because they generally treat you better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes they might go cheaper. There's a couple of times where
the con block is more expensive. Yeah,
the con hotels are more expensive than some of the other hotels around. And sometimes at San Japan it's like $200 a night, and then I'm like, well, if I just get one that's just a block down, I can I get 3 days for $200.
And not only that, but they should also treat us better, because not only that, but when do they normally get a big, huge, to where every single room in their entire hotel is practically booked? Speaking
as somebody that used to work for a hotel, sometimes these conventions do bring in a lot of revenue, but they're actually more of a hassle than they're worth, because think about it like this: you're running a hotel. You got a bunch of people in costumes. You got 10, you got rooms with at least 10 people in it. And that's a fire hazard right there.
Yeah, and the thing is that I noticed that a lot of hotels, and this has been going on for a few years already, that they're starting to get really strict on people. They're like, if we know that there's more than 4 people in that room,
they're all gonna get booted.
They're gonna get booted out
Or charged more.
Or charged more. And so I haven't had like a bad experience. But I remember when I first started to go to conventions, I did room with people that was like 6 or 8 people in a room, and it was so crazy. And then there was body odor, and then sometimes I'll sleep on the floor or in a little chair because I'm tiny, so I could fit in there. So it was so crazy, and I'm like, screw it, I'm just gonna have like a normal hotel, maximum 4 or 5 people, and that's it. And it worked so much better.
To get around the body odor thing, what we started doing is we give everyone a number for the shower, and like if he wants to use the shower, and he's number 4, he can't go until 2 and 3 have already showered. So he actually has to go and make them shower before he can use the shower. And that's one way to help encourage the people
The
in our
main
room.
problems with body odor also is polyester costumes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't use polyester in your costume. It's gonna
Okay,
smell
for the
horrible.
people that don't know what polyester, like me.
Synthetic fabric is basically what you can buy
okay.
at Joann's for cheap. If you look at the little number up next to the barcode and the price.
And it'll show you the
Yeah.
percentage of what fabrics they put into that cotton.
Okay, well, like
Polyester.
50% cotton
It's-
might be a lot better than
as a mascot cosplayer, it's really hard to stay fresh when you've been in a heat box for at least 30 minutes and you look like you just crossed the Sahara Desert.
Yeah,
Yep.
I remember, what was it? I was 2012 actually. I was at San Japan, and it was one of those heat waves, like where like things were starting to be catching on fire. Thanks Houston or Texas. But anyway, I went ahead and I dressed up as Connor, and I had like a coat plus the outfit and the weapons and everything going
you're
on with
dripping.
it. And then when I came out, and I was like, okay, I can smell myself, and then my friend's like, you're fine. I'm like, I can feel it going out of my body, So I think I was actually having a heat stroke as well too. But I remember taking off that coat, and it was like peeling off. I was like, why? And I took a shower. I took a cold shower, and I just like passed out on the bed for a good hour or two.
Heat strokes aren't fun. I actually experienced one without knowing I had experienced it. But like, it's really difficult because like me, when I wore my Ninja Turtle cosplay, I wore it when it was 30 degrees outside, and I could not feel the cold air except for my face. I'm like, oh, it's freezing, but the rest of me, I slept in the costume and I was still warm.
Or Friend Fest.
I think
I didn't need a blanket. I literally just slept in the cosplay, and I was like, I feel great. And everyone's like, like chattering teeth.
My first cosplay
Wait, at Ren Fest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
was Johnny Sasaki, full tactical gear, and I ordered a Under Armour heat gear long sleeve shirt, and it wouldn't show up. And it wouldn't show up. And I had I order everything a month in advance. I've always been good about that. But a month and a half later, I'm like, oh my god, what's going on?
You should, yeah. For me,
Well-
like, if they're a week late, I get on them.
It didn't show up, and I used the only black shirt I had. A black waffle shirt for out in the winter. And I'm going out to San Japan the first year,
Oh.
where we have to cross the street to go
Oh,
to the
God.
panels.
I think I know where this is going.
Oh, I was burning up.
Wait, which con are you describing?
San Japan 1.5.
Oh, I remember that one where we had to cross the damn. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss, but San Japan,
We had to
we had to
cross
go
the
a
street.
block. We had to walk a whole block to attend the con.
Oh wow.
I remember.
It was at the auditorium, and there was a little cross street. It was a short walk, but
And wasn't like it was a Holiday Inn that was the main hotel.
Tropicana or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm starting to see that a lot of conventions are actually trying to stay away doing it in the summer. And like for people who don't live in Houston or in Texas, it is incredibly hot here in sorry, my bad. It's incredibly hot here to the point that when at Comic Palooza, there was a heat warning saying like you shouldn't even be outside. Now, if the weatherman is telling you like right now it's an oven outside. You probably shouldn't be out there. It's a good reason to listen to that weather. He might be wrong when it comes to showers because he's always wrong, but when it comes to heat, it's everywhere.
Well, let me describe it in a way that everyone can understand. Pretend the heat wave is a thunderstorm, and the cosplayers are going outside with a lightning rod.
A solid gold lightning rod extending up to 15 feet in the air.
And standing on something tall like their house and going,
Yeah.
this is cosplay. This is...
Even when
While
I was
wearing
at
cleats.
when I was even at Comic Palooza, I was dressed as Morgan from Dragon Age Origins, and it's a skimpy outfit, yes, but I was just walking for just like 10 minutes, probably even less than 10 minutes from the parking lot that we parked just to go to Comic Palooza, and by the time I went there, I was like, I feel like I was burning. I was like, what the hell? And I drank a whole bottle of water, but it was that hot. And I was literally wearing barely anything, and I was really, really hot.
I was in a black Morse suit with the white trim fur.
Yeah, she
But,
was.
You were incredibly. She was Black Cat. You know.
Story
Bye,
time.
Felicia.
Yeah.
So one of our roommates sees a picture of Ladygoth on the internet. He's like, "Whoa, check out this chick! I'm totally gonna go hit on her." I'm like, "Dude, that's my friend's wife. Don't hit on my friend's wife." He's like, "What? That's what's his face's wife? We can't say names on the podcast, so I'm saying like, yeah, that's her."
I saw that, and then I'm like, you. Look
He had the saddest look on his face after that.
But dude, even like, and I can wear that Morse suit like around the house. I can wear it like even whenever AC isn't on. But I mean, with the fur added, and then I had to add all that, all the boots on there, and then walk around with the wig. I'm so happy that one guy was willing to take $20 for me to, ride on the back of his bike all the way to the convention center, because I was not.
Dude, you should have just parked in the garage. We would have let you in and out.
We couldn't. There was no parking.
There was
spot.
no parking. Like I remember like it was,
I was
on
all the way
Saturday
by
by 10 a.m. It was already full.
What's nice is now the Convention Bureau is opening the Toyota Center parking lot. That has really helped. And they only charge $20 regardless of whether or not this gets overfilled.
You hear that, folks? If you're not staying at the hotel, leave my parking alone.
Yeah, that's like one of the only reasons why, because like this year I usually stay at the hotel that's connected to the Georgia Brown Convention Center, because I just don't want to deal with parking.
That Marriott is going to make life so much better.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
now,
And not only
but
that,
actually, like,
not only
stay-
that, they're building like 3 more additional parking centers.
They are building
Yeah.
another parking garage. They are.
Yeah.
About
Oh,
time.
thank goodness.
And there are more. They're also
Because they're
it's too much.
We're getting much more now. We're not just the Super Bowl. They're bidding for a lot of things.
World Cup, I think they're bidding for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
not only that.
we lost the World Cup bid to some
not
other
in-
third world country.
Well, besides those, we're focusing on for the later on decade, but that's another.
Yeah, they're bidding for like
2026.
WrestleMania and then the UFC fights and Super Bowl and
I mean, it's a great investment for them to do that, because it's not just like conventions and anime conventions. Like we have a whole bunch of gun shows as well
Oh, yeah.
here.
Yeah, consistently.
Yeah, so I mean, in the parking lots and everything get full to the
But
brim.
here's the thing, and I have to ask this, and this isn't me taking a shot at Space City Comic Con, but because of what happened, do you think that will damage the credibility of Houston as far as bringing guests or hosting other
No,
comic
really.
no.
conventions?
It damaged more.
Hold on, okay, let's say one person at a time. Everyone's speaking at once. Let's go with 2007 over here.
Basically, what happened was it damaged a lot more the credibility for the county, because it fell under Harris County's division. The city of Houston will not take responsibility for what happened for Space City Comic Con. They were
Well,
not
shouldn't the
affiliated.
owner but the owner takes all the responsibility.
The owner, yes, and because of what happened, it also fell under Harris County's, so they also got caught in the negative feedback as well.
But all the actors have been paid for Space City Comic Con. They made sure that they were finally paid out. And the only ones that didn't actually receive payment at the time were the Sons of Anarchy people. Brent Spinner was there. He got paid. Everybody else got paid. And I don't know what they had against this Sons of Anarchy people, but it might have been the bad.
It could have been that they promised them this much, but they didn't have that much just yet, and they were waiting till the end of the con.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I'll pay you, but I'll pay you after the con. They probably didn't tell them that part.
They should have.
If they didn't have the money to pay them, like, hey, listen, I don't have the money now, but I can pay you after the convention's over.
Yeah,
It
but
was
that also
nice.
depends on the contract. Like, if the contract stated you'll get paid after the convention, then I understand that. But if they said that they were going to pay them when they're at the convention, that's a total.
Space City
total
Con has
different
always
picture.
been known for booking these, like, top list, top bar, grade A
Yes.
actors.
Yeah, I mean, they're known for doing that, but from from my experience, or because after Space City Con, I went ahead and I chilled with one of my friends. I'm not gonna say her name, but she actually did some panels with some writers over there, and they actually talked. There was little security. They were going to the back where the actors, the main actors, where there was barely any security. A lot of the people or the convention staff, they left. And then they overheard saying that some of them are like, we're never going to a Houston convention ever again. I mean, that was at the time of what everything was going down. I don't know if there might maybe to reconsider. I hope they can reconsider, because that was just unfortunately a really bad experience for them, and I'm sorry if that actually that it happened to them, because that's very unfair.
Well, at the heat of the moment, people are going to say, well, I'm never coming back to this place or this con.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot. Sometimes you can come to terms or an agreement to help, because
Yeah.
and that's where Comic Palooza kind of like took this bad publicity and turned it around and made them look even better than what they were, because they were getting a lot of bad rep for not having such a such a star-studded cast of guests.
And I'm hopefully
It was a little bit shorter than they usually do.
Actually, they had a lot more people there than they were advertising, because a lot of the Power Ranger actors were there.
Yeah, the Red Ranger was right next to me. I didn't even notice that. I was like, wow, how?
So maybe they're allowing actors to get their own booth and advertise themselves and make their own money themselves.
I don't know. I did notice that there were quite a few comic book writers that were listed, and it is a little bit silly that comic book writers didn't have like an aisle all to themselves. That would have been good.
Yeah, there were some, like one of them, which I absolutely love. He liked some Assassin's Creed. He actually did one of the covers for the Assassin's Creed comic, and I was like, I didn't even know he was here, but apparently he was, and he was doing signings, and I'm like, for Comic Palooza saying that it's the name Comic Palooza, I really wish they actually did some advertisement on some of the artists and writers there.
They need to have a lot more artist writers panels.
Yes.
And then definitely need to make it like an artist alley. So
the con is, believe it or not, the con seems like it's already grown, but it's still growing.
It's still freshly
It doubled
new.
in size. This year it doubled in size.
As a piece of advice, they really needed to leave that center aisle alone. I think they might have used it to divide up the artist side from the dealer side, but it really ruined the walkway. So people were just going around the edge of everything. And a lot of dealers really were.
Don't be surprised in 5 years from now when Comic Palooza is using up the entire Jar Jar Brown.
Well, they already are.
Hold. The entire Jar Jar Brown, plus the Hilton and plus the Marriott.
Well, the Hilton has never let anybody in there, and that I think they'll be using the Marriott. They'll definitely be using.
Oh, trust me. For they say they won't. Okay, they can say that now, but when you throw enough money in front of their face, they'll look the other way. You know what?
Yeah.
It's time for a change.
And
if they can make a profit, then yes. I mean that's what it all boils down to.
Because the Hilton Americas doesn't care about conventions, but they had Comic Palooza signs all over it because they know that money. It's gonna they have lost no revenue whatsoever because of the con. As a matter of fact, they always their profit margins always skyrocketed during that time. Even not just them, but the businesses too. Remember, the businesses also have a hand in this. The local businesses have a say because they're the ones who also profit. This is why Houston wanted Comic Palooza, because everyone as a whole benefits.
We always needed those extra panel rooms for overnight programming.
Mhm.
That's the one thing that's kind of terrible at the Georgia Browns, that they don't stay open late most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time when it hits like even 6 or 8,
They're like,
everything,
okay, everybody
everything's
closed
dead.
out.
Everything's dead at that point.
Well-
And they're actually like, I was talking to some other people that it's going more towards the family friendly con.
Yes.
So, and for me, it's just kind of like, well, I understand they want to go family friendly, which is perfectly fine, but I'm like, I still want some of the, for adult
Mhm.
content
Well,
or panels.
We
It's the
can
best.
testify to that because this past Comic Palooza, all of my panels except for the cosplay dating game was approved. They gave it to somebody else because when he presented his panel and I presented mine, I told them right off the bat that it was an adult panel, 18 plus.
Mhm.
But the guy, he presented it as a 13 plus panel,
Mhm.
and they gave it to him. And they gave him an even smaller room than what I get. Normally they give me one of the main event rooms, but they gave him such a tiny panel room. And I am a little biased. I did attend his cosplay dating game, and I kind of like, mine's more spontaneous. He kind of like planned it out a little bit too much. And I liked it though. I like it. Good for him. I want other people to take some of our ideas and help improve the community. But I did notice that Comic Palooza is going the family, because when I asked the events director as why didn't it get approved, because I get it approved every year. Like that's the first panel we get approved.
Yeah, like sorry.
So and he said that he didn't know why. It's not even the events manager. It's like the coordinators of the con that want it to be family friendly.
Yeah, because the thing is, at Comic Palooza, they do get sponsorships.
Right.
Well,
And the
and
thing
it-
is, like, if the sponsorship's saying, like, we don't want this because it might give us a bad reputation, they're going to have to listen to their sponsors. I mean, I'm just making an assumption
It's
here.
more the fact that it's part owned by the city now.
That's,
The city always focuses at events to be juvenile.
And you know what? And I don't hold it against them. As a matter of fact, that's a very smart decision, because at the end of the day, the smaller audience, like the children, their parents are going to spend way more money than we are as single
Yeah.
adults.
Oh, I spend way
Well, not you
too much
per se,
money
but what
on-
about
at
there are
Comic
a lot of
Palooza.
cosplayers, especially from the
Yeah.
anime community. There are a lot of them that they go to these cons, they barely have enough money for a badge, they don't have money to eat, they don't have money for a hotel room, they just sit around there, they don't sleep for 3 days, or they sleep in their car, and they live off sugar packets and water.
That's insane. Yeah, but, like...
One restaurant had honey packets, though.
Honey packets for the rich. All right, sorry about the interruption. We had some technical difficulties, and we had to cut it off. But, okay, we're gonna change subject. I don't know what just for the simple fact that we don't remember what we were talking about.
Mhm.
So, starting with Miss Sakekitty, I want to hear the pros and cons about Comic Palooza.
Okay, well, so far, I really liked the dealer rooms because there was a lot more variety than at Space City Con. But besides the point, I spent tons of money there. The only problems that I really had, and this is just because I was in the cosplay contest, it went by very smoothly. I looked onto their app. The only thing is I had trouble with their app, and I don't know if other people had trouble with it as well too. But on Saturday, it went dead on me. Like, I couldn't even open the app. And when I clicked on cosplay, because they have this little icon for cosplay, so hopefully for cosplay panels or information or for the cosplay contest, what might be on there, and it wasn't. It didn't tell me where to sign up or to register. So that was a huge issue. And so I actually went up there for the pre-judging, and they're like, well, you have to register. And I'm like, well, obviously, where's that? They're like, oh, it's down in this area, and it didn't set that on the app. So I registered, and I went there, and the judging was awesome. I really wish that there was more time for the judging, because they just gave them, to me, they gave them such a small slot for judging, so you only had like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and they will time you on that. They were really strict on the timing. So that I did have like an issue with. I did not have an issue
So
with
what was the judging like though? Like, was it like, did you make it? Okay. Did you
No,
make it?
they actually will look in there, and like when I showed them, because I was wearing my Assassin's Creed Unity cosplay, so I actually showed them the buttons, and I showed them the pictures of how I made the buttons, and the inlining that comes with it, and everything, and all the pictures, like the 100 pictures that I had, and they're just like, oh my god, you know, and they really enjoyed it. And one of them, I think her name was Hoppy, because it's a Twin Six, because they were doing the judging.
Yeah, I know them. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
and
who
she
they are.
actually was going through my Tumblr accounts, and she was like, oh, shit, I have to follow, because I didn't even follow you on Tumblr, because I had so many progress pictures of like everything that I have done. And the cosplayers were just phenomenal. I mean, like, I didn't win anything, but the people who did win, yeah, they deserved it. They did really good judging on it. And the person who won, like, you know, best in show, props to that person, because it was like furry, and he had full leather armor, and it was not just like plain slapped on leather, because some people do that, which is fine, but he actually like stamped it and decorated it all by hand, and that takes a lot of time, and he dyed the leather and also shaped it, and he was wearing a furry costume, and he also made, I do believe he did make the weapon, but I know he made everything else.
I do have a question about how accessible the stage is. This is for me personally, because I'm going to wear a cosplay next year, and I'm entering in the contest, and the cosplay is about as wide as this table.
Yeah. They helped anybody that was up there.
'Cause
too.
I
Especially there was Ursula's. There was Ursula's with dresses that were huge with tentacles, which were great. The people who were dressed as Ursula's, y'all were amazing. But the only problems that I had with that is that they should had an earlier time for the prejudging. You know, because they didn't give them enough time for the prejudging. Their app, when it came to talking about cosplay or even the panels, it just showed the people who were the guests there and information, which is fine, but not really like panels or where to go or to register or for prejudging. I mean, it was all on the scheduling, which is fine, but then the app was being all wonky, so I couldn't even access anymore for the schedule. So I actually had to go to one of the health booths and just pick up one of the pamphlets and look through and to try to find it, which was awesome, you know. But other than that, you know, from my perspective, for the cosplay contest, which I went through, they could have done a better job when it came to more time for judging. I believe they should have had more time for judging, because the judging started at 2 o'clock, which was really 2:30 when they started. And also maybe more information on the app, because that's what I was going for, to try to look for it, and they did not have that information. So, you know, that's my only complaint. I don't think they even had it on the pamphlet, so, yeah.
So, Miss Ladygoth, what are your pros and cons for Comic Palooza?
Well, I normally don't go to the panels, so I can't really say anything about how they
we
ran.
noticed you don't go to any of the panels.
No, I go for hanging out with friends. If somebody says, hey, well, there's going to be a panel on this, and it's actually something I would like to go to, then yeah, I'll go to it. But I mean, besides that, I don't go out of my ways. If I miss it, I miss it. But pretty much, I have to say, the people that were the attendees were really, really nice. The first moment I walked in the door, I was already meeting some wonderful people who just wanted to just hang out and wanted to trade information with me through Facebook. And every time I saw somebody who had a really nice outfit and I wanted to know how they made it, they had no problem either, hey, hit me up, I'm kind of a little bit busy, but I mean, you know, I gotta rush over to this. They would give me their information, and sure enough, they'd hit me up after the convention was over, and then I would also run into people who were just like, yeah, I made it this way and this way. And
question, based on your experience with Comic-Cons, so we've talked about this many times, can you say this was a much more friendlier atmosphere than some of the other anime cons that you've attended over the years?
Yes, I would have to say, because people just seemed a lot more humble, and usually sometimes whenever you want to like talk to somebody, or if you want to ask, sometimes they do put that little higher than thou atmosphere to them.
So anything else? Any more pros and cons about the con? Well, you weren't there that long.
No, I wasn't there that long, but I did like the alligator. The one whenever they brought the alligators to have everybody pet them. I like that.
They had alligators there?
Yes, and they had sugar gliders.
Were the kids allowed to go near them?
Yeah, they were allowed to touch them.
They had the alligator
That
to the
was
lake.
the same weekend.
Oh my God,
the
yes.
same
Of the
weekend.
Disney.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
See,
Wow.
There were some really cool cosplayers. I remember there's this one cosplay group. I think one person made the costumes, but they literally did a Disney princess / Jedi Star Wars crossover, and they were there at the contest as well too, and it was just like a really cool, neat idea. I was like, oh my god, why did I not think of this? But their costumes were really nice, and they were getting a lot of pictures as well too.
My cousin was there for her first convention ever, and she didn't know she could use her lightsaber that she had just bought there with her Rapunzel cosplay. I'm like, I bet you if you look hard enough, you will find Disney princesses here with lightsabers.
Yeah, so because since Disney and Star Wars are they're kind of like doing they're now princesses in the same universe, I guess. Everyone's like doing like mix and crossovers, which is just
Well, isn't a
amazing.
convention just one giant crossover?
It is a giant. It's so much fun because like every once in a while, people like, oh, you're an assassin. Can you kill me? And I'm like, sure, I can do that.
And Sephiroth and Aerith are walking together hand in hand.
So for Delta
knew
H
something
Con
was
this
going
year,
on.
for Delta H Con, me and a couple of the Geeks 5 Ever admins, I'm gonna dress up as pixelated Pac-Man, and they're gonna dress up as Ghost. And we're just gonna be we're gonna get dressed at different sections of the con. So we're gonna be walking around. So when we actually do run into each other, the surprise is genuine.
That's gonna be genius. I actually do want to do one where because I'm getting into Game of Thrones. I know I'm late, but there's a whole meme of like shame. I'm like, I haven't seen anyone
Hodor.
actually like got the like dressed up as like the I guess the nuns or the religious people and have this one lady just with a bell be like shame just throughout the entire
We already
con.
have
Like,
a
that's
whole-
genius. How come no one has done this?
Oh, okay. Speaking of which,
Yes, that was them.
okay, nobody can see it, so we'll post a picture up when I do the editing. Anyways, so Mr. Oliver from Delta H Con. Without sounding too biased, no, I'm messing with you, man. What were your pros and cons about Comic Palooza, and how do you think you can take from that and help improve Delta H Con?
It was too hot right now, so it's really a summer schedule.
Well, I hate to break this to everyone, but Texas is always too hot. Even our winter wasn't really winter.
Yeah, but
Yes.
at least there's a little bit of a reprieve. It's not in the 90s in the middle of
I mean,
December.
most of us wear
Not
too
most.
many. Most of us
Humidity.
wear too many layers to begin with
Yeah.
to even feel the cold air. It might as well not exist.
Right now, the con is definitely they're working with a construction environment that really helps.
It really
the
hurt.
Vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, but
I think you were trying to be sarcastic. That's why.
they ran it pretty good. What was weird is they didn't advertise their guests well enough. There were quite a few of them like, oh, I didn't know you were here. They did amazing getting Charlie Hunnam over. It's a second convention. Space City Con was his first convention ever.
Wow. No, really.
Yeah,
So
it was.
most of his fans were going, oh, he'll never come back to a convention. So this was his second convention ever.
Yeah.
And he really helped out with the fans.
And combination with heavy apologizing and negotiating with the bureau, and basically trying to get everything sorted from the meltdown that
All right.
was.
Well, is there anything else?
I don't go to panels that much because I used to go to panels for sewing and so on, but I've gotten to the point where I could be the panelist.
Yeah,
So-
my friend actually my friend Vance, he actually was like, do you go to panels as well too? I'm like, I go to them, but now I just don't really learn anything
Yeah.
anymore.
When the panelist is saying things like, no, you need this product. No, you need to do that. And it's
It's like Wobble.
Delta.
Well, Warbler is great to use. I'm like, no, this is Texas. This is not a good idea.
Warbler
Oh,
costs
God.
more than leather.
Yeah, you could get better.
It's
deals.
harder to work with than leather.
Mhm. You could
Why
get better- you could
they
get
use
better-
Warbler?
It's for people up north, I'm assuming
it must be nice, yeah.
it must be great to use it. Even now, because I was Morgan, and I had my staff that glowed and everything, and I'm actually I now have to redo the staff because my friend, I actually accidentally left the staff over at my his twin's apartment, and then he called and he says, "Oh, you left it here." So I said, "Okay, well, I'll go ahead and pick it up." He left it in the car for just a day, and it melted. Like the glue or the hot glue just literally melts. Thank God it did not melt like on the chairs or anything inside the car, but now the staff is totally ruined, and he's like, "I'm sorry," and I'm like, I could just redo this easily. I was planning to redo it anyway, so this gives me a great deal. And the thing is that Warbler would do the exact same thing if it was left in a car like that. So I don't know why they Warbler here is not a good idea. It really isn't.
But as far as we're gonna talk about that in a future podcast. But panels can make and break a con.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not everyone. Yeah, I understand. Not everyone goes for the panels, and there's a lot of how to or ask a cosplayer this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a bad taste from the cosplay 101 panels. So I attended a few, and it was like I'm not gonna say the names, but they're like really famous here in Texas. One of them cosplays something from Dynasty Warriors. I forgot. I don't know the character, but she had a panel. She was hosting it, and she was telling people, well, on my cosplay page, I do commissions, and you can check out my work, and here, and this is how much it costs for me to do that, and this is how much it costs for me to do that. Well, what if I want to make this? Well, I can commission that. I'm like, well, that's not why I'm here. I'm not here to get a commission. I need to learn how to make it myself, because... There's a couple of times where, like, some cosplayers, they'll do a panel, but then they're not fully prepared. Mm-hmm.
And it does take time, because like when I did my panels at Delta H, I thought I was prepared, but I was so nervous at the same time.
You're panicking.
Yeah, I was panicking, and so now I'm like, okay, if I really want to do this right, next time I'm actually going to have like videos of what I'm doing up there, so people can see that. So now, I'm going to also do it on my, page and everything like that. But when it comes to the panels, I'm still going to have that, and I'll show people what would be a good idea, what's not going to be a good idea. Because you do need experience in it. I do apologize to, people if they didn't like the panels that I did. I was nervous.
Well,
but at the same time, I've been to panels before, and then sometimes it's just like, oh, how did you make this? Oh, I just got this, and I put some Warbler on it, and then I got it to make it look like that. And it's like,
she's using an object as an example, as a visual, but there are no visuals. Anyways, but as a podcaster, you're always going to have the hit and misses, and you're always going to have the ones that are really good and the ones that are really bad.
Yeah.
And it happens even as an experienced podcaster, because whenever I sign up for a podcast, I sign up by like the bulk. Yeah. So, but what were you gonna say?
What I really liked about Comic Palooza is it was my cousin's first convention ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to have her hit too much on one side, too much on another side, but Comic Palooza has everything.
Yeah.
So she was able to go to a couple Disney panels. She was able to do a couple Avatar, not the blue ones,
Mm-hmm.
panels, a lot of Marvel panels. She was able to find comic books she's never been able to find. For her first convention, I think she's hooked.
Yeah.
Also, your mom got to go, and that was pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
She was cool.
One thing we
She was the awesome squirrel
as
girl.
a panelist, one thing we are bringing to Delta, or we're gonna try. All up to like a lot of people already started getting their panels approved. We haven't gotten our notification, but I think I already spoke to Sarah, so I think I don't know what's going on there.
Just double check with her.
Yeah. So we are trying to bring more comedy-based panels, because we tested the waters on Pokemon versus Digimon as a we will offend you type roasting comedy panel, and it was like it was so successful. Like, we told everyone they were going to be offended, especially because that's the whole point of the panel, and people didn't leave. Like, they stayed in their seats. As a matter of fact, more people felt offended. They walked in.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, but I'm glad that you said your cousin.
Yeah.
I'm glad because that's what Comic Palooza is trying to do, is trying to unite everyone as a community, because we were kind of torn apart, like anime and comic book, fans. But now because if we want people to respect us, we have to respect each
The
other.
community had gotten very bitter here in Houston.
Well, not just here.
And everybody had their favorite conventions, and I don't.
But now their conventions are dying, so.
Yeah, like especially when the recession hit, a lot of conventions disappeared, and only like the good
YoCon
ones
Mhm.
really,
Well,
really
YoCon,
survived.
the guy started a second convention, and he decided he wanted to keep that better.
Kamikaze Con.
No.
Kamikaze.
Kamikaze Con, because Mark's wife got pregnant and he didn't. There I go saying his name. Okay, the con director of Kamikaze Con's wife got pregnant. He was having another child. So instead of focusing, because the cons were taking too much time away from his family, he said that he wanted to spend it with his family instead of doing it with the con. Because when he ran the con, he literally ran the con himself.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually amazing.
So. Like and that's how I met Theo from Onicon through damn, there I go saying names again. That's how I met the events director from Onicon through Kamikaze. But we're rambling off here. So Mr. Xeric 2007, what are your pros and cons for Comic Palooza?
The cons basically.
The cons for the con?
Yeah, basically were the maze-like structure of the walkways and the halls. They confuse a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they got the first floor level was completely cut off. I don't understand that why.
Well, like when you look at the schedule, it said panel room 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No.
But then you look at it says like 7:30.
I understand that, but I'm referring to like the first floor walkway literally was cut off. You had to go
Around NASA.
Yeah, basically
Because it goes back to what he said. It has a lot to do with the construction.
Well, no. What happened in the dealer's room is what's happening to a lot of conventions is when you only have one major area and you have artists and dealers paying for different prices on tables, they really get offended if the same traffic goes through there. So they did a solution. It wasn't the best solution.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you got walking down the middle and you discovered that there was, a block in your walkway, you went completely around everything. You just stayed on the perimeter talking to your friends, and you never actually went to the aisles. So that really hurt them.
Okay, see, the thing was, I didn't know that because I didn't actually go down. Throughout that entire weekend, never once did I go down to the first floor except for my badge.
You didn't have the free Ben & Jerry's?
No.
Every day we'd go out there and get 2 or 3 of
See, the thing was like, what's so terrible is that not only did they give us so many panels and we only had a 30-minute break between each panel, it means we had to go, leave our stuff, and come back with our other stuff. Other people asked me for help with their panels. And not only that, I had to go scout the other cosplay dating game panels compared to mine for business purposes.
Oh man, those Ben & Jerry were
and for some reason, I don't know if the guy will ever listen to this podcast. The guy, his name is Chris. He ran Cosplay Dating Game at dude, you did a good job. I like it. I'm being a little biased. I kind of like mine better. I don't know the last name. So, your pros and cons?
All right,
pros.
Moving on to the pros. The con did double in size. It literally took the entire floor.
Well, it always had.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily. I've noticed in the past two, for 2014, 2013, it wasn't the entire.
It was a complete Georgia Brown, but it was missing portions of it.
Right.
A lot of it was unused.
Mm-hmm. The third floor, there was a lot more activity than last year's.
Yeah. It'll be nice when the second floor gets back to normal.
I can't wait until the complete updated look for the George R. Bruin is going to look a lot more better.
Now with a front door.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Does it matter? I take the sky bridge.
Not many people realize this, but
I'm not going out there in that heat. If I'm staying at the hotel, I'm going through the bridge.
Besides the point, not many people realize this. With a new updated look, is going to bring in a lot more business, a lot more new cons like E3.
Mm-hmm.
Also, a lot more hooligans.
True, but we can always deal with them.
I might visit it more.
Yes, pros, you heard me right. E3. They're looking for a new home anyway, so.
Yeah,
We're too small for E3. They need a lot more auditoriums.
Actually, not just the auditoriums. We could actually use the stadiums, all 3 of them.
Besides, E3's in cahoots with whoever to not bring it down here anyway. So.
Not really. We can still live with them if we have to.
Cahoots. Anyways, so go ahead and finish.
All right. Basically, this This year's Comic Palooza, I'll solid 9.5.
You know what? Yeah, let's give it a rating. Miss Sakekitty, if you're not too busy being on your phone.
I like my phone.
Yes, you do.
I love all the sexy pictures on it.
I love those pictures too.
I like your sexy pictures.
I love your sexy pictures.
Whoa, what kind of podcast is this? Anyways, what would be your final rating for Comic Palooza?
I actually, I'll give it a 9. 9.5. The only problem is that like I had some issues how they dealt with the cosplay contest. You know, especially when we were there, when they were going to release the information about, you know, like who won, you know, judge's choice and everything. They were like just prolonging the entire thing. They said, oh, just give us 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it was like 45 minutes. You know, and it was just, I'm like, just reveal who won and who didn't, and also a little bit of lack information, not only on the app that they have, which was also failing, but also the pamphlets and the brochures that were actually giving out, because it didn't really state anything on there. So that's my only issue, and that's just from my point of view as a cosplayer. But other than that, I was perfectly fine with how they did the layouts. I played games upstairs. I went to the dealers. It took me 3 hours to get through the dealers and also to the artist side. I went up and down every single hour. And it's just like, it was like, what time is it? Oh, it's 1 o'clock. What? You know, but my only complaint for me is like, I spend way too much money.
Miss Ladygoth, what would be your final rating based on the short experience you had with the con?
I'd give it a 9 or higher. I had a fun time.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I had a really nice fun time. Yeah.
You didn't have too much fun now, did you?
No, I would give myself probably like a -2 just because of the fact that I was poor. I saw too much.
They need more bars around that area.
No, I didn't have enough money for bars.
She saw people licking like the salt off churros, and even she thought that was too high class. All right, Mr. Oliver, sir, representing Delta H Con, what would you give the rating to the con?
I don't really feel like I could rate it because I didn't stay late, so I left around.
Doesn't
5.
matter, just your experience alone.
It was pretty good. I did feel I missed a lot of the convention just because of the center aisle. So I gotta say 8.
Okay, that's fair.
Rating.
That's fair. Because you're rating it based on your experience, not overall. And did you give you said your rating was a 9.5?
9.5, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well, I have not given my pros and cons, so I will go ahead and do that.
Are you allowed to?
Yes.
Moderator?
Oh, I'm the host, but I'm allowed to have an opinion. Triggered.
I think newscasters should not be.
I'm not a newscaster, but I did enjoy the con, even though I was working the entire weekend.
Cosplaying.
I was doing panels left and right. I did enjoy. There were a lot of fun people. It was nice to. I did the Dragon Ball panel. I did the Power Rangers panel, the Ninja Turtles panel. We did a Funko panel. I had fun. It was nice meeting all these other groups, working with them, connecting with so many people, and they genuinely had fun. They enjoyed it. These were comedy panels, and that's what we bring to the table. I did have. I think that they should label the rooms better. Like if it says 730C, it should say 730C instead of panel room 5 on the pamphlet.
Yeah, there was an issue with that because I think they actually changed or rearranged the numbers of the
schedule.
rooms.
No. We actually knew our panel rooms a month in advance. We weren't really supposed to like say anything. Like we could advertise what panel room we were, but they gave us a map. On the map, it didn't say 730C. It said panel room 18, 17, 15, 5, 8. It didn't say the actual numbers of the room. So they gave us. We knew a month in advance where we were going to be, but it wasn't properly labeled like it was.
At least it's not something with those hotels that have those like the West room. And then the happy la 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 room.
The luau room.
I hate when they do that. I didn't have trouble like finding of like where I was going most of the time, but I can understand why that could be like a major issue.
They should like panel rooms 1 through 4 over here, panel rooms 5 through 8 over here. Okay, I need to go over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of Honolulu, where am I going? You know.
It's like, so I have to take a plane.
Another thing I had about Comic Palooza. was the fact that they had to kind of force the app on everyone.
Yeah.
And I don't have a cell phone or phone service, so I wasn't able to use the app. I do because they also posted the panels and the times they were starting on the door, so I had to go to the door and look at them up.
Well, they have brochures there. They actually have brochures that talked about the scheduling, but the app will be more up to date.
No, but the brochures were invalid because they had changed the times.
Yeah, and so and then
That's why. That was my. That's
like,
my
if anyone's hearing this, there's this wonderful app called, I think it's called Guidebook, and it's easy to use, and all you have to do is just plug it in. They charge.
Yeah, that's why a lot of conventions don't use.
There's this wonderful thing called an email that you can send out to all the panelists when you're changing the times to their panels.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much it costs, but it's
kind of expensive. The bigger your event, the more they charge.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the system they're using right now is actually really new. The system they're doing is it's still like alpha stage right now. Mm-hmm. It's not even like fully developed yet. And they're using a new system and they're working with that system. And they're going to have a lot of trials and errors within these this year and the next year. So it's going to be about like we probably won't get a good solid foundation on the con until 2018.
Yeah. Well, it's just that, there has to be some sort of app or something that they can use.
Well,
maybe something more simple, because the app looked wonderful and it looked really fancy, but then when it starts to crash and I can't use it anymore, it causes problems. Other people had the same problems as well too. It wasn't just me, it was other people as well. So I think if they actually do a more simpler type of coding, maybe because a lot of coding, they're going to HTML5 right now. Mm-hmm. So if they actually did change the coding into something more simple, that would be better to access for a lot of phones, because a lot of services, even now for websites, are now allowing you to create websites that's easy accessible for phones and whatnot. And they could make basically a website or just a place where they can go where they show most of the schedulings and stuff like that. But I'm speaking technical.
Right. So that was my problem. Another thing that I had was the lack of adult content at the con, because I understand there's kids there, there's children. They don't exactly have somebody at the door, scanning IDs. I understand that.
Hey, they have St. Arnold's booth.
I think they need more bars around that area.
They were selling alcohol and
this
beer.
is kind of weird. It's like, we want child friendly, but here is an open bar that not open bar, it's a bar place that you can buy all the alcohol that you want. I'm like, I found like 5 around. It's like, I could get alcohol here and there and there, but I can't see my hand tie or my yaoi, and I'm sorry, but I like my hentai and yaoi.
Okay, we're not going down that road, but
but there's a lot of bars. They're just on the other side of 59, so they're more set up.
Yeah, see, I had to make that walk in my Barney costume.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
And I already
there,
injured my leg.
Yeah, because they have Lucky Spell right behind it. That's the one that.
I had fun because I went to Lucky's, we went to Neil's, and I was dressed as Barney. People were like throwing.
Neil's was packed. I was like, I was not even.
I had more fun at Lucky's than I did at Neil's.
Yeah, I would go to Neil's if it wasn't like Neil's need to upgrade. Neil's, if you're hearing this, you need to upgrade.
The House of Blues is also relatively nearby.
But you have to dress a certain way, don't you? Like they have a dress code. They do have a dress code. So if I go in there dressing up as Morgan, I'm pretty sure they're not gonna let me in there.
They let me in as Cookie Monster.
Oh, that's some bias ass shit.
Okay, well, I'm going to give the con based on my experience. Last year, I gave Comic Palooza a 10 out of 10 because it was amazing. It was probably one of the best Comic Paloozas I'd ever attended. But then again, I didn't have that many panels to work. Mm-hmm. I got to experience the con, and plus they had a rave. Even though there were only like 6 people twirling in circles, probably coked out of their minds.
Yeah.
But it's PG-13.
Ravens needs to start sort of dying down.
No, don't take away my dances, okay?
As a convention organizer, that is where
all the bad stuff happens.
90% of all the bad stuff happens. The drugs, the alcohol, the
ecstasy,
people.
But there's nothing wrong with raves, okay?
No, there's nothing wrong with raves, but if
they're almost unmanageable.
If it causes a lot of problems, I could see.
But you're gonna have that regardless. You're gonna have that even with a formal dance.
Yeah, but most of the injuries occur there. Just 99% of the arrests occur there.
Yeah, because
that's when the cops show up and start.
Because people do drugs. That's just plain people do drugs.
Well, okay.
But that's what they come expecting for. I'm going to go to rave and get.
Well, they didn't do it again
super
this
high.
year, not because of that, but because when they tried to do it last year, there was nobody there.
Yeah. Well,
There were literally only.
well,
There were more people at this table than there were at the rave.
yeah, that's probably true. I mean, I think
It reminds
I
me
think
of
they need
our
to
rave
find
back
a better way for better night entertainment. You
Mhm.
know, probably like for like adult comedy or adult shows or adult panels, and you know, like Team 4-Star, they have a panel that is usually just like PG, but then there's the night showings where there's like a Team
Mhm.
4-Star like 18 and up, and I think maybe if we are able to do more panels, like that. I would actually like to do a panel that's more like 18 and up for just like for cosplayers and just talk about, anything.
We signed up for one at Delta HCon, so if you want
Yeah.
to join us.
I would join you with that. I would definitely join you.
It's
with
called
that.
Horror Stories of a Anime. It's called Horror Stories of a Convention. And it's called 18 Plus.
That's perfect. I
Uh,
love
We
it.
had a panel like that last year. It was pretty good.
Yeah, and
Really?
those are so much fun. And then other people will go up and probably will talk about their horror stories.
Yeah,
and it's fun.
when we described it when we signed up for it at Delta, we described it as a stand-up comedy.
The voice actors came by and gave some of the better stories ever.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
voice actors.
They don't
are
have better stories than
hilarious.
me.
Voice actors are hilarious, especially when
Yeah,
they're drunk.
Hey, we can't talk about Onicon in this
No,
this
we can't.
podcast,
Unfortunately,
but we
no.
have better stories.
Yeah.
Hey, they're looking for you. Come to the room. Tell them I went back to Mexico. Anyways,
Maybe for a
hold
Halloween
on.
special later on.
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
future.
yeah. So I'm gonna give Comic Palooza only because I worked there an 8 out of 10,
Okay.
and that's only because I didn't experience it this year. I had fun, and because I worked there, I probably would have. If I didn't work there as a panelist, I would have given it a lower score. But that's because I didn't actually get to experience the convention
I
this
think
year.
a lot of people were just there to be there. It didn't
Yeah,
feel like
yeah. It
everybody
felt like
was
that.
having
It felt
fun.
like
It
that
was okay.
Well, like
Palooza.
in one of the panels, and actually, you know what? We're gonna talk about this during the other podcast, but we're out of time because Miss Sakekitty here is on a time.
I have work. I have a normal
and
life.
her eyes are closing. Like, huh?
Yeah, I'm really tired.
She's more tired than the kitty that's been bothering our table.
Please, okay, well, unfortunately, we're out of time for this podcast. We're going to do a part 2 podcast. We're going to try, instead of doing once a week or once every 2 weeks, we're going to try to do it every couple of days now. Whether we have Miss Ladygoth or Sakekitty or Mr. Oliver or Mr. 2007 or even yours truly. I host all the podcasts for Geeks Forever, but we're going to have other hosts hosting other different types of podcasts. This is Jesse Goku. I want to thank all my guests for being here today. Thank you, Miss Sakekitty.
You're welcome.
We look forward to working with you at Delta HCon and looking at more of your pictures.
I saw the pictures. I did a Supersonico one, and so those are pretty nice.
I saw that. I shared it. I hope you don't mind.
I share it all.
Liz.
I show a lot of talent, quote and unquote,
Yeah. She's got a lot of
Talent.
personality.
big personalities.
Right. Miss Ladygoth, can we get are you going to be giving, what is your Facebook page on Facebook? Is it facebook.com/Sakekitty?
Yes, sucky.
What about you, Miss Ladygoth?
It's just Ladygoth at Opera. I'm gonna change it eventually to Ladygoth.
Oh, can we get a
Cosplay.
link to post it on our YouTube?
Yeah, I can send you a link.
Cool. Well, deltahcon.com or org, what is it? Org?
Yeah. No, this is things.com.
.com?
DeltaH.com.
Because I don't want to type in Delta HCon and end up somewhere else.
I tried that. No, it doesn't.
Okay. Oh, man. I'm going to look like a liar now.
We show up on Google.
And what about you, Mr. Xeric 2007? Do you have a fan page or something?
Yeah, I do. I have a YouTube channel on Xeric 2007.
Oh man, I'm not plugging your YouTube channel. You're the competition.
Well,
I'm messing
no.
with you. I'm messing with
I
you.
know,
I'll
but
plug your
my
Edit that out. Edit that out.
also, you can also find me basically anywhere on the internet with that name, Xeric 2007.
you can find him at every gathering chasing off bigots with bigot signs.
Besides the point, you can also find me on PlayStation Network, the Xbox Live,
Okay, we're not
Steam.
We're not
what have you. You can find me with that name.
Trump was in town during Comic Palooza.
wrong podcast. Anyways, thank you for listening. This is Jesse Goku. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel. Please share us on Facebook, facebook.com/geeks5ever. Check out our another podcast we got coming on later on. I got another podcast with the official band. I can't say their name in this podcast, but we're going to do an interview with them. They got a concert coming up. We got an interview with them. They are providing the official theme song for all of our podcasts. So we got a band to do a cover song for us, which is amazing because Geeks 5 Ever is growing. This is Jesse Goku, and stay classy, everyone.